Hello, my name is Lindsay Cowden. I work at Connections Family Wellness, which is a mental health clinic in South Jordan and Logan, and I'll be explaining how to prepare and implement the reward spinner intervention in your classroom. So this type of intervention is meant for group behaviors, and with the reward spinner intervention, the classroom gets to spin an arrow on a reward chart and receive the reward that the arrow lands on as they display appropriate classroom behaviors. So an advantage to this intervention is that it facilitates anticipation. Okay, the classroom knows they will get an exciting reward, but they don't know for certain what the reward will be. And this intervention is appropriate for elementary age children. To prepare the reward spinner intervention, the teacher will first decide when to schedule the intervention. So the intervention can be implemented daily and even implemented more than once per day. But select a time to implement the intervention when behaviors are most challenging. So for example, during a 40-minute math lesson. Then define the target and replacement behaviors. So define the target problem behaviors to be reduced, such as talking during instruction, being out of their seat, things like that. Then match each problem behavior with an appropriate replacement behavior, such as raising your hand before talking, sitting up straight and facing the teacher, things like that. And then make a poster of replacement behaviors. So write the replacement behaviors on a poster and place it in the classroom where all students can see it to remind them of what behaviors are expected. Then calculate a behavior cutoff. So the classroom gets to spin the spinner to earn a reward every time the total number of problem behaviors falls below the teacher-defined cutoff number. To determine a realistic cutoff, collect baseline data by tallying across 2 to 3 days the number of problem behaviors observed during the time of the day when the intervention is scheduled and create a daily average. Then cut the average baseline number in half to come up with a realistic cutoff number. So for example, a teacher who intends to schedule the intervention during a daily 40-minute math lesson collects baseline data during this time over 2 to 3 days and discovers that the class on average displays 10 problem behaviors during this lesson every day. The teacher then cuts this average number in half and uses 5 as the cutoff value. Then create a reward spinner. The reward spinner usually has 5 to 6 sections, with each section representing a different reward. Some of the sections are small and some are large. So the small spaces represent a big or highly preferred reward, while the big spaces represent a smaller or less preferred reward. Then decide what reward will represent each section on the reward spinner. So for example, small spaces may represent a classroom party or extra free time or a classroom game, things like that. And the big spaces may represent receiving candy or 5 minutes of extra recess time, things like that. Then write the rewards in the corresponding spaces so that the students know what the potential rewards are. To make the reward spinner, draw a large circle on a piece of cardstock or cardboard, cut it out, draw 5 to 6 sections of varying sizes, and place a plastic arrow in the center. And a plastic spinning arrow can be found on Amazon for $8.49. Okay, then place the reward spinner somewhere in the classroom for the children to see. To implement the reward spinner intervention, the teacher will first announce the reward spinner game, then announce to the students that the intervention is in effect and point to the poster of the replacement behaviors to remind students of what behaviors are expected. Then record the target problem behaviors. So during the intervention session, keep a running tally of problem behaviors by tallying each time the problem behavior is observed using a pen and paper. Then announce the final total number of observed problem behaviors. So at the end of the intervention session, announce to the class the final total number of observed problem behaviors and state whether or not the total exceeds the predetermined cutoff number. Then provide feedback, reward, and/or encouragement. So provide one of the appropriate responses. So if the total number of problem behaviors falls below the cutoff number, allow one student to spin the reward spinner and then reward the class with whatever reward the spinner lands on as soon as possible. If the total number of problem behaviors exceeds the cutoff number, review the expected replacement behaviors and encourage the students to improve their performance next time. Okay, now fading out the intervention. So fading out the intervention is important because it helps the desired behaviors to become a natural part of the child's life so that the behavior does not become dependent upon receiving a reward. So after the reward spinner intervention has been used for several weeks and has proven to effectively improve classroom behaviors, begin to fade the intervention by lowering the behavior cutoff from 50% of the baseline levels or the pre-intervention levels to 40%, then 30%, and so on. Okay, but something that's really important that I'm going to point out is that while fading the intervention, continue to consistently acknowledge and praise the class when they perform the targeted behaviors to ensure that the behaviors are locked in. Okay, thank you so much for joining me for this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.